7:30 kickoff. Ohio State Buckeyes, Notre Dame Fighting Irish for the national championship in college football. Crazy enough, 7 and 8 seeds in the college football playoff, which I think are great. I think that's great for the sport, that it's not just, your top 2 seeds and, oh boy, here we go. These guys had to fight through a lot of good football teams. Ohio State currently a 9-point favorite tonight over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I know you are a Notre Dame fan. Are you kind of where you're at with them, just how you are with the Commanders, or are you much more hungry for a win, seeing as Notre Dame has not really won much of anything ever?
My feeling with this is that I think it will take a miracle for Notre Dame to beat Ohio State tonight. And I really hope my family's not listening, because they always accuse me of not really being a Notre Dame fan anymore.
Being a fake fan.
Because whenever they ask me stuff, I'm like, well, I don't think they're that good. And then they get really mad at me, so I just stop commenting on it. But since I'm pretty sure they're not listening, because they're all having a Notre Dame party in D.C. tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a near miracle for Notre Dame, just because they don't have the passing game.
Yeah.
Their defense can be stout, but they're playing a guy who's a redshirt senior who at left tackle who's starting for the first time. That's not a good place to be in for your passing game. And I like Riley Leonard. I don't think he totally lived up to the billing hype when he got here. Yeah, to the hype. So I like it. I don't think it's good. I don't think they're going to win. And even if they do win, if Notre Dame wins tonight, people are going to use it as an indictment against the playoff bracket.
Which is dumb.
They're going to use it as an indictment of, oh, look, the best team didn't actually win.
If Notre
and
Dame,
the old way that we used to do the national championship game is better than the new playoff way. I couldn't agree.
I couldn't disagree with that theory more, or that thought process.
That's how people are going to talk about it.
But they beat Georgia.
I know.
They beat nobodies. They beat Indiana, who, okay, I'll give you credit. Maybe Indiana was a little overrated. Fine.
Indiana was terrible.
Yeah.
Indiana should not have been in there.
Sure.
That's the biggest key. People are going to go, they beat Indiana. They only had to be one real team to get there.
They beat Georgia and Penn State. Both of those teams are really good football teams. Penn State lost by 3 to, Ohio State and Oregon. They barely lost to. Penn State was a really good football team. They beat Georgia, beat Penn State. And if they beat Ohio State, who has been playing better than anybody else in the country up to this point, you can't just discredit the playoff just because you don't like the outcome.
I think that's what people are dying to do, though, because people are already pissed off at the bracket, and they're pissed off at the teams that got in, the teams that got buys, like Boise State. They're really mad at that. And I think a lot of people wanted to see
Boise
Texas
State wasn't a bad football team.
Go all the way. I'm saying, I think no matter what, the way that the college football playoffs turn out from when they moved away from the complete bowl setup to starting to have the playoffs and then expanding them, everybody gets really mad at their teams being excluded and the teams that make it in. And I'm just telling you, I don't think Notre Dame's going to win, but if they do win, everybody is going to come out the net tomorrow morning. Is it everybody,
or is it just the SEC hardos? Because it seems to me like it'd be the SEC hardos.
You don't think the Buckeyes fans will come out?
I think they'd be upset about it, but they were in the national championship game.
Anyway. Notre Dame was a fraud team, wasn't supposed to be in the championship anyway.
If you're Ohio State and you come out tomorrow and criticize the college football playoff bracket, and you're not doing it before the game even starts, you're a fraud and a loser.
It's Kat Jones's way, because she's a big Oregon fan. She's going to come out and be like, Oregon got screwed.
So, to be fair,
Oregon got screwed having to see Ohio State. And then you'll say, well, Notre Dame was able to beat Ohio State. So.
Yeah, but I think if she says that, I understand why Oregon fans are upset, because they get the first round bye, but then they have to play Ohio State in the second round. You need to tweak the college football playoff, but you can't entirely discredit it.
How do we tweak it?
I think you have to either get rid of the byes or you have to reseed every round. So that Oregon gets to face the lowest possible seed. Granted, it still would have been Ohio State, so it wouldn't have really mattered. But I think that's kind of how you're going to have to do it. Is you need to expand it a little bit more and either take away the byes or reseed each round.
Do you think I'm being too strong on a miracle for Notre Dame to win? Who do you think will actually have a shot here?
So I think Marcus Freeman is a really good football coach, which gives Notre Dame a shot.
I agree. I love the guy.
Yeah.
I'm also glad, on side note, since we had Ben Johnson breaking news being the head coach of the Bears, I'm glad Marcus Freeman didn't take that job. I think he should stay.
He's going to stay at Notre Dame. I have a feeling he's going to be a Notre Dame lifer kind of guy.
I don't even mean from a fan perspective.
Yeah.
You have a great thing going at Notre Dame. Don't go to the Bears, who
are a mess.
Sorry. Like, I know it's a desirable coaching position right now, and you want to be a head
He's
coach
also not
in
like
the
an
NFL.
offensive guru either.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much he would have helped Caleb Williams in that regard.
I just wouldn't have loved him walking into that situation.
But I think tonight, like, he could have the coaching advantage over Ryan Day. Ryan Day has choked in some big spots before. That has absolutely happened. I think the big difference right now for me is Will Howard versus Riley Leonard. Like, that's the clear-cut difference for me, and Howard's just been better. He's been good for Ohio State, and so I feel like I'm going to lay the points with Ohio State, but I would be more than happy to see Notre Dame win. And I think the only way they can win is if they win the turnover battle and they possess the crap out of the football. Like, they have to hold the ball for, 7-8 minutes at a time, long sustained drives, a lot of running the football, a lot of first downs, a lot of fourth down. They go for it, get the first, like that type of deal.
Yeah, they basically have to play like Bill Belichick style ideal football.
Keep Ohio State offense off the field, and you have a shot.
But
to win the football
isn't
game.
that what we always say about teams who aren't as good as the other team?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like,
but that's the beauty of football is they
you
absolutely have the
command
chance.
the clock in the situation
and
keep the other team's explosive offense off the field. Like, that's what we say about every bad team going up against a better team. Not that Notre Dame's a bad team, but I'm saying the less talented
and
team.
To be completely fair, we said that about the Commanders, and the Commanders ended up coming out and scoring 45 points. They didn't do that.
Yeah, but the Commanders have a quarterback
opposite.
who we have already determined is top 5 quarterback in today's NFL.
You're right, and that's fair.
And that's not Riley Leonard in NCAA.
No, Riley Leonard would have to have like the game of his life, I think, for Notre Dame to be in it. That's kind of where I'm at. Or Notre Dame has to run the crap out. Notre Dame either has to run for 250 yards or Riley Leonard has to play out of his mind in order to win this football game.
So a miracle.
Yeah.
We're looking for touchdown.
I guess Ohio
miracle.
State could just melt. Like, that's a real possibility, right? You kind of like what the Ravens did. In that first half, they just turnover, get a little bit of a lead here, 2-3 score lead, and then it's like, okay, just hold on to the lead. Don't turn the football over. Don't be stupid. Have a couple defensive stands, and boom, you win the football game.
Can I ask you something as someone who's like very much in the gambling world?
Oh, please. I'd be happy.
Do you think that the college football championship has gained or lost juice by being in this playoff format? Because I feel like the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, even though the games were bad, people were super locked in. It was over the holidays. We had that weird holiday stretch where it was Christmas on Wednesday and New Year's Day on Wednesday. And I felt that people were watching a lot of these college football games, talking about how bad they were, but they got a lot of traction. And now that we're in NFL playoffs and we just came out of an awesome divisional round and you have the college football championship tonight, it almost feels like like that's happening tonight.
I think.
Doesn't it feel like it's a little bit on the back burner?
Anticlimactic? Yeah, on the back burner. Yes, I do, but I don't think it's the playoff bracket's fault. I think it's just a timing issue in that, like, we haven't seen college football in almost 2 weeks now. That has been kind of an issue. So it's in the back of your mind. It's not really forefront. I think you need to capitalize more on the playoffs. And you can't have this much time off in between that last playoff game and this game. Like, it needed to kind of be more consecutive. I think the playoff needed to start earlier as well. Like, you need to just do away with conference championship week. And
especially since the conferences are collapsing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you need to just completely do away with that. And that's when you start the college football playoff that week. And then you're kind of done a little bit earlier so that you're not lined up with the best weekend in NFL football. And as much as I'm going to watch the national championship game tonight, you're right. It is kind of on the back burner, especially after what we just watched this weekend.
It kind of feels like, have you ever been to a friend's wedding where you go out the night before, like after the rehearsal dinner, and it's like everyone's so excited to see one another that everybody gets after it, and it's a super fun night.
Yeah.
And then the day of the actual wedding, people are hungover and they're kind of just
figuring it out,
sipping wine at the cocktail hour because they're not feeling great from the night before.
Oh, yeah.
That's how the college football national championship feels.
Yeah, everybody's drunk on NFL football divisional weekend.
Exactly.
It is the best weekend
of
football every year.
We just watched Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and this is just not going to live up to that.
Whereas if this national championship game was after wild card weekend where we saw a bunch of blowouts in the NFL, everybody would be like, all right, give me a great national championship game. Let's go.
You're right. I think I'm also just not used to the calendar.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. 617-779-7937 if you want to weigh in on the national championship